In the world of global finance, a decision in Mongolia has sent shockwaves far beyond its borders. This isn't just about a cancelled contract, it's about a nation at a crossroads, caught between superpowers and its own future. The $15 billion Tavan Tolgoi expansion project was meant to unlock Mongolia's mineral wealth and fuel its economy for a decade. Its sudden cancellation has left investors reeling and governments scrambling, with ripple effects from copper prices to Asian geopolitics. At the heart of this story, Mongolia, striving for independence, China, its powerful neighbor, and the US, eager to shape the region's future. The collapse of this deal is a bold statement. Mongolia is determined to chart its own course, even if it means economic risk and diplomatic tension. The Tavan Tolgoi saga is a microcosm of the challenges facing resource-rich nations in a world defined by competition and shifting alliances. To grasp the impact of this cancelled deal, you need to understand Mongolia, a land of ancient history and vast mineral wealth. Since the 1990s, mining has become Mongolia's economic engine, replacing centuries of nomadic herding. The country's fortunes now rise and fall with global commodity prices, making it vulnerable to boom and bust cycles. Foreign investment is essential. Mongolia lacks the capital and technology to develop its resources alone. International mining giants have poured in billions, building infrastructure and creating jobs, but also sparking debates over sovereignty and profit sharing. The Oyu Tolgoi mine, run by Rio Tinto, is a prime example, a GDP booster, but also a source of controversy and public distrust. Many Mongolians feel left out of the mining boom, fueling a powerful strain of resource nationalism. Leaders must balance attracting investment with ensuring Mongolians benefit from their own resources. The Tavan Tolgoi deal was the latest and most ambitious test of this delicate balancing act. Its collapse has reignited debates about who truly profits from Mongolia's mineral riches. The Tavan Tolgoi expansion project was a mega deal, $15 billion to tap one of the world's largest coal deposits. The plan included a new processing plant, a power station, and a 450-kilometer railway to the Chinese border. Key players: Australia's Terracom, Hong Kong's Kinglink, and Mongolia's state-owned ETT. For foreign investors, it meant a steady supply of coal for China. For Mongolia, it was a nation-building project. Projections showed a potential 20% GDP boost within 5 years, thousands of jobs, and a leap in export capacity. The railway was crucial, replacing slow, costly trucking with efficient rail links to China. After years of negotiation, the deal was signed in early 2024, hailed as a historic turning point. Construction was set to begin in 2025, with coal shipments by 2028. But just as groundwork was about to start, the government pulled the plug. The cancellation is a stunning reversal, upending Mongolia's economic strategy for a generation. Now, the country faces the fallout of walking away from its biggest ever investment. Officially, Mongolia canceled the deal over unmet financial guarantees and environmental standards. But behind the scenes, political infighting, public anger, and corruption allegations played a decisive role. Opposition parties and civil society groups argued the deal favored foreign investors and threatened the fragile Gobi ecosystem. Investigative reports and the viral hashtag #HandsOffTavanTolgoi fueled public outrage. Facing protests and poor polling ahead of elections, the government chose political survival over the contract. Economic analysts warned most profits would flow abroad for years, reviving fears of Mongolia giving away its resources. The government was accused of repeating past mistakes, sacrificing sovereignty for short-term gains. With mounting legal, political, and public pressure, the deal became untenable. The cancellation was as much about national pride as it was about economics. Domestic politics drove the cancellation, but the US played a subtle strategic role. Washington's third neighbor policy aims to counterbalance China and Russia by deepening ties with Mongolia. In 2025, a high-level US delegation visited Ulaanbaatar, quietly urging Mongolia to diversify its partners and avoid over-reliance on China. The Americans offered technical help, investment in renewables, and support for green mining if Mongolia pursued a more transparent, diversified approach. The unspoken message: work with us, and we'll help you break free from China's economic grip. This gave Mongolia political cover to cancel the deal, framing it as a strategic pivot, not a failure. The promise of US support, though not yet concrete, emboldened the government to walk away from the $15 billion consortium. Washington didn't order the cancellation, but its maneuvering made it possible. The move is a quiet but powerful play in the US-China rivalry, with Mongolia's future at stake. For Mongolia, it's a chance to reset its economic relationships. For the US, it's a win in the great power competition for influence in Asia. The economic fallout was immediate. Mongolia's stock market plunged, its currency hit record lows, and credit ratings tanked. The sudden reversal has made investors wary, raising the risk of capital flight and economic stagnation. Without Tavan Tolgoi's revenue, the government faces budget shortfalls and fewer resources for public services. Thousands of promised jobs have vanished, deepening anxiety in a country with high youth unemployment. Critics warn Mongolia may have traded short-term pain for uncertain, long-term gain. Supporters argue the country preserved its resources for a better deal, one that's more transparent and beneficial for Mongolians. The government is betting it can attract new partners, perhaps from the US or Europe, on better terms. But the risk is enormous. Mongolia's immediate stability now hinges on a future deal that's far from guaranteed. The nation stands at a crossroads, with prosperity or hardship hanging in the balance. The canceled deal highlights the fierce US-China rivalry playing out in Mongolia. Over 90% of Mongolia's exports go to China, giving Beijing huge leverage. The Tavan Tolgoi project would have deepened this dependency, tying Mongolia's fate to China's economy. China saw the project as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. Its cancellation is a setback for Beijing's regional ambitions. The US sees Mongolia as a key democratic partner and is pushing for economic diversification and Western investment. For Mongolia, the challenge is to balance these giants, embracing US support without alienating China. The government's move is a bold declaration of independence, but it risks angering Beijing while relying on distant promises from Washington. Mongolia is walking a diplomatic tightrope, trying to secure its future without becoming a pawn in a superpower chess match. The world is watching to see if Mongolia can pull off this delicate balancing act. The stakes couldn't be higher for the nation's sovereignty and prosperity. For insight, we spoke with Dr. Sarantuya Dagva, a leading Mongolian economist. She sees the cancellation as a necessary, if painful, turning point after years of public frustration with mining deals. Mongolians, she says, have watched wealth flow out while their own lives remain unchanged, fueling anger at both elites and foreign corporations. The government, under intense pressure, had to act. Dr. Dagva believes Mongolia is now demanding respect in better terms, betting its resources will attract new partners. It's a risky strategy, but continuing with a flawed deal threatens long-term sovereignty. The real test, she says, is what comes next. Mongolia must quickly create a transparent, stable legal framework for investment. Success means a historic victory. Failure could be a catastrophic blunder. The world is watching Mongolia's next move. The stakes are nothing less than the nation's economic future. The Tavan Tolgoi saga is far from over. Mongolia now faces both peril and opportunity. By rejecting deeper dependence on China, the nation has made a bold statement about sovereignty and self-determination. The immediate challenge: stabilize the economy and craft a credible plan B for its mineral wealth. Mongolia must attract new partners while ensuring future deals are fair and sustainable. The outcome will shape not just Mongolia's future, but could inspire other resource-rich nations to demand a better deal. The world is watching as Mongolia bets on its own value and navigates between global powers. It's a gamble that could bring prosperity or hardship. For the first time in years, Mongolia is in the driver's seat. Where it steers next will define its destiny.